Back to another episode of the Me, Kevin, and Mikey show. Today we are going to talk about, we've actually got some rigging of automotive data. That's going to be entertaining. We'll talk some electric vehicle stuff. Boy, a tough day in the stock market today. Second day in a row. What a way to start the year. Down, especially some of those more interest rate sensitive ones. It seems like we're kind of trying to unprice some of the rate expectations for March. Some kind of relaxation of hopes that the Fed will cut really super fast. Quite frankly, if the Fed cuts really super fast, it's probably a really bad thing. Might mean we're going into a recession. So don't really seem to be signs of that yet, but they could definitely mess it up and push us into there, but we'll see what happens. So, Mikey, what's this automotive news, this tampering of safety data? Boy, this sounds a lot like Dieselgate and Volkswagen.
This is going to be Daihatsu Gate, which is a Toyota-owned subsidiary. They halted all production in Japan for their cars after admitting that they've been rigging safety tests for about 30 years.
Holy smokes. I think the that's just sort of like the thing in automotive is like the legacy companies, they're all just like rigged. And then Tesla, I mean, we shouldn't say that. We're painting with such a broad brush there. But then Tesla, it's like Elon says one thing slightly off color, and the amount of hate the poor guy gets. I think it's just really popular to hate on Elon. I think that's why some of these stories, they don't really float to the top, because it's just like, does Daihatsu, who like nobody knows about in America, does anybody care that they're cheaters? Well, yeah, we should, but is it as juicy as like Epstein's list or Elon Musk? No. But let's analyze it. So what happened?
Okay, well, so they announced an independent third-party committee had found evidence of the tampering on up to, they said, as many as 64 different vehicle models, some of which are under the Toyota brand directly.
I wonder if Prius is in there. What were the problems?
Oh, that would be spicy.
Yeah, because that's one of their most popular models. And that was one of the ones that really started the hybrid revolution. You know, hybrids were trash, and the Prius came around. It was like, oh, okay, wow, that's some nice fuel economy. Back when gas was like $5 a gallon, back in like '08, everybody's like, oh, gotta get a Prius.
I wonder. I'm not sure what this was for. I mean, it's safety related, which back in April, they also admitted to rigging some other safety on their cars for like 88,000 cars sold in Malaysia and parts of Southeast Asia. But according to Toyota, this has shaken the very foundations of the company. And it said they will temporarily suspect domestic and international vehicle shipments and consult with authorities on how to move forward.
Oh, they're suspending, you said, at the moment. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So what do they do? It's like a unit within Toyota. And I guess they must do something very specific for Toyota, including, almost 24 sold under Toyota's brand, by the way. 24. I mean, how many different models does Toyota even have? I feel like Prius has got to be in there. Yeah, exactly. Like 24 different models. Independent panel has been investigating after they said in April it had rigged side collision safety tests. Most of them sold as Toyotas. Side collision safety tests. That's really interesting. So I wonder how you rig that data. Just like, oh yeah, we did it at 30 miles an hour of side impact, and it was really 20.
Or they put some other bracing inside of the car that it doesn't get sold with, like, I don't know, different frame. I don't know.
Yeah, that is something just to make it maybe stay together a little better in the test. That's sad, because people, one of the most important things when it comes to cars is people's impression of the safety. They want to feel like their family's going to be safe in it. And so calling into question that's sad. So what else is going on there?
It's taken them so long to build up their reputation for being reliable, for being safe, for being affordable. And in the last few years, they're losing it so quickly. Toyota. It's interesting because if this is it's a subsidiary, it's almost kind of brilliant that Toyota separated this under a subsidiary. It's like the rigging. Oh no, that's Daihatsu. That's not Toyota. But some of them were the Toyota branding.
The models, that's true.
Yeah.
But I wonder if can they point the finger? Oh, that's not us. That's Daihatsu. Even though they own it.
Yeah.
People do that. Just all the different entities. Daihatsu's presence has been limited to Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia as of 2021. Okay, that's essentially where they operate. And they have been wholly owned by Toyota since 2016. And they're well known for three-wheeled vehicles and off-road vehicles. It almost doesn't surprise me that the three-wheeled vehicles are the ones getting rigged. But Toyota? Does Toyota have three-wheeled vehicles? I've never seen a three-wheeled Toyota.
Southeast Asia would be the market for that, or South Asia, like India.
Okay, so maybe it's less less popular out here in America, or less exposure out here.
Definitely less, but it's still 9,000 employees are getting impacted because of this.
Wow.
So it's still kind of a big deal.
Oh, yeah,
for
here.
them.
The following vehicles produced as of 2021. Yeah, I don't even know what these are. Here. A Toyota Passo, Pixis Joy, Pixis Van, Pixis Truck, Pixis Epoch, Raise, Roomy, Probox, Pixis. These are all smaller, like you said, maybe Southeast Asian or so vehicle types. Huh, interesting. So rigging safety crash data at Toyota, and that barely makes the news, but all the lives Tesla saves doesn't make the news.
If this was a Tesla thing, it would have been front page on every publication.
The stock be down
today.
like 30%.
Absolutely.
Too. Yeah, you're right. Like, it would give me more front page news than Epstein.
That's the only thing that could probably beat that news. You're right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
In the last 5 days, Toyota is up 0.65%. Like
Nobody
it did
cares.
nothing.
Nobody cares.
It did nothing.
Yep. But you're right. It's like nobody's hearing about it. And then all the fund managers who have exposure to Toyota, they see Daihatsu, and it's like, it's almost kind of brilliant. Oh, yeah, the safety testing's done by Daihatsu. It's not Toyota. Meanwhile, you own it. That's nuts. That's like you, let's say you're Pfizer, and you rig your safety data, which I'm sure they would never do. But it's done by Daihatsu Vaccines. And it's like, well, they rigged it, not us. It's bad. Okay. Wow. So, sad.
All right.
Next.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Some EV news. Well, first I wanted to go over, this would be a little fun one. Christian, if you could share my screen. Mm-hmm. This was an article from CNN in 2019 that talked about their predictions for the future of the EV market.
And that's going to be entertaining.
They were saying things, by like 2040, electric cars could outsell gasoline and diesel. Mm-hmm. But here was the fun one, is top car manufacturers in 2025, here were their expectations.
Can we zoom in on that? I'm like blind.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see here.
So this is 2015.
So they thought Renault would actually beat out Tesla?
Well, here's the chart going through time. 2017, 18.
Uh-huh.
Oops.
Oh, interesting.
2025. There.
There's the prediction.
That's
they
the prediction.
thought Volkswagen.
They thought Volkswagen was going to kill it.
Volkswagen would kill it. Renault, and then Geely, which is Polestar.
It's Polestar and Volvo and Lotus. They bought Lotus and like 10 other Chinese brands.
Wow. And so they thought they even have them listed as Tesla Motors. That's like calling Apple Computers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Had the old name.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, wow, they had no faith. I mean, I guess nobody really.
Look at what they were expecting. 412,000 cars produced in all of 2025 was their prediction for Tesla.
We just did that last
in
quarter.
a quarter. Yeah.
In 2023. So 2 years earlier.
Yep.
We did that in a quarter. That's really
BYD is
cool.
not even on this list, and it's a close second to Tesla in reality.
Yeah. On the annual numbers, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they are kicking butt in terms of what they're producing. So wow, that's
Volkswagen, Renault. These are rounding errors. These are basically zeros today.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, geez. I think Renault was getting into a hydrogen partnership there for a moment. I wonder how that's going. Was that with Plug Power? I wonder. Yeah, they were getting into. It was last year. Renault unveiled, some hydrogen. Oh, just concept cars. That's what it is. Okay, yeah, we're not. But nobody's going anywhere with hydrogen. Mostly because you don't have hydrogen gas stations. I always maintain, that's why I thought Nikola had a good idea, as much as they were a scam and a fraud. The idea of having hydrogen and a battery electric vehicle in cars. So basically hybrid, but hydrogen and battery, I thought was brilliant because it creates hydrogen demand. But you can actually functionally use it and charge it elsewhere. Now you got to have a whole power plant in the back of your car for hydrogen. It's probably a little explosive, but
yeah, I'm not a fan of hydrogen. But
no, neither is Toyota. That Mirai.
You could buy a used. Used Mirai.
I bet their resale value is like zero. You have to pay somebody.
2019 Mirai under 10K.
No way, under 10K for a 4-year-old Mirai.
If you want to get the old generation, the 2016, that's 7K for you right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's because they came with these $25,000 hydrogen cards. So you can get the card and refill at a fuel station. But the fuel is so expensive because they're like, oh, well, Toyota's just giving out these 25K cars.
It's like stimulus.
We're going to milk it. Exactly.
Everything
it's like stimulus. So people use the 25K up, and then they go, well, this is a useless car now.
How much were they new?
When they first came out, dude, there was like 60,000. And this is like 2015. I mentioned it before. I worked at the Toyota dealership when we sold the first one in the U.S.
No way. That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, like your super base model, like pricing starts. And we know how Toyota does it with pricing starts. Pricing starts $49,500. You're right. So you're realistically, once you get your, all the bullshit in there, it's probably a $60K since nobody gets a starting price. And now they're selling, just 2 years old? There's one for $18K, 44K miles. That's nuts.
Yep.
That's nuts. Yeah,
Yep.
no, I mean, but who wants that? It's a dead car. I don't even think they're still manufactured. Are they really still? No.
Oh, they're
have
a second generation, yeah.
Yeah? To 2023 Mirai. I thought they were giving up on this. I can't believe they're actually still trying.
They doubled down.
That's insane. Hey, but you get the HOV sticker.
For how long? Just a year?
Wait, that's a good question.
Because EVs, my family had a 2001, 2003, something that window Toyota Prius, the first generation.
Yeah.
It doesn't even look like a Prius. It's based on the Toyota Echo. And back then, you got the carpool sticker for like 10 years.
Oh, interesting.
And they kept like shortening it as time went on, and like EVs got better and better. And now it's, I think, 2 years.
Oh, I remember those annoying stickers. In 2010, I bought a Prius, and they gave me the stickers. I did not want to put them on my car. So I just kept them in my glove box in case I ever got pulled over. I never got pulled over.
I also never wanted to put them on the car, and I never got pulled over for it.
Yeah.
But on my honor, when the 2 years went up, I stopped using the carpool lane.
Yeah, there you go. All right. What else? Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Mirai, its MPG estimated miles per gallon equivalent is 76. I mean, that's obviously better than the gas vehicles, but I thought it'd be a lot higher for a miles per gallon equivalent.
The cost is so much that I don't think you'd be saving any money on the actual transport. Because, like, how much does it cost refuel hydrogen car?
Yeah, gosh, wow.
Approximately $80 to $90.
But these got to be like 10-gallon tanks, and they can't be that big. Bill, my father-in-law, was looking at getting one of these, but he would have had to drive to Santa Barbara to fuel up, which, that's sometimes like an hour one-way drive with traffic. It's supposed to be 30 minutes when there's no traffic, but just to go to the gas station, 2-hour potential round trip, hell no.
Not worth it.
Yeah, no.
Not worth it. By the way, did you get a 1099 from Tesla?
Not that I'm aware of.
You might have one. I noticed this. This is from Dan from What's Inside. He tweeted, just got this message in my Tesla app. Tesla sending me a 1099 for what? Free supercharging miles? Ticket to the Cybertruck event? What's the dollar amount value that they're putting on these redemptions? But anyway, here's a screenshot from what he got on his phone.
Wow.
So those credits that you're using on your Tesla account, that's they got real value to them, and they're sending you a 1099 with that.
That's ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. In the event that you redeem more than $600 from the program, wow, that's crazy. That seems crazy. Like, so what you're saying is, like, we have lifetime supercharging for free on our Model X. So basically, if we redeem more than $600 of free supercharging, rather than it just being an included service, they now want to charge us income taxes on that, which in other words means it's not free supercharging anymore, because now if, let's say you use an additional $1,000 above the 600 here, and then I get taxed, well, I'm going to have to pay like $550 out of pocket for free supercharging. It's not free supercharging anymore.
Yeah.
That's odd that the IRS is trying to come after free supercharging. Like if I go to, if I go to college and I let's say I take a free muffin every single day. If I get to over $600, am I going to get $10.99 for my muffins? Or is that, at what point is it like an included service versus taxable? That's weird.
A good point. Yeah. I don't know.
Because if you're including it, it's just like a fringe benefit. I guess at what point does that rise to being taxed? Well, according to Tesla, it's $600.
Well, it says, note, Tesla cannot advise on tax matters. Please consult a tax professional. Yeah. But, yeah.
That's lame.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Let me see if I got one on my app.
Yeah, just you check that up. I'll move on to the next one.
I'll just clear the notification, and then I won't have the problem.
So, my old CEO of Cloudflare, Mr. Matthew Prince, he's an EV fan, but not a Tesla fan. So he got a Rivian.
Okay.
And he just went on this little 7-tweet long thing here.
Rant.
It's a bit of a rant.
Yeah.
The cost to repair those things is insane. Compared to a Tesla even, it's insane. So he said he cracked the rear windshield on his R1T, right? The T being the pickup truck. Okay. Called Safelite. They quoted him $50, 3 days. Cool.
Fine. That's reasonable.
But then they called back. They're like, actually, we tried and we can't get the rear windshield from Rivian, so you're going to have to go to them directly. So he schedules an appointment. Waits a couple weeks. He goes, whatever, maybe they're busy. It's the holidays.
Yeah.
Supposed to drop off the car this Thursday. Got an email today with the estimate for the work. Just cracked the rear windshield. No sensor damage, no structural damage, not even scratched paint. Rivian, that'll be $4,200.
Ooh, wow. That's insane. $4,200 for the windshield. I mean, because they're $80,000 cars. So you're talking about, 5% of the cost of the car for one piece of glass.
Rear windshield.
You know what I do in that case, right? Tape.
yeah.
Done. And Jack and Max draw on it. Make it look nice.
Your renovation, if something's wrong, like the paint scratches, just paint the whole thing white.
Yeah, exactly. Spray it.
Yeah, spray it. But anyway, that's the Rivian. I was shocked because I was surprised to find out the top glass, the whole piece of glass on my Tesla was over $1,000. But this is $4,200 for the rear window.
It's like the little window that goes
to
the bed, basically, in between the bed and the cabin, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Now I wonder if those might be like heated. You can
heating
defrost
elements.
them, so maybe that's what costs. But not $4,200. Come on.
Yeah, that is true. That is a lot. That's wild. Well, it's probably. I mean, you just don't have scale yet on the servicing departments at these companies, so you can't really, I guess, expect that when a vehicle company is delivering, their first 13,000 vehicles or whatever in this quarter, not the first, but they just delivered 13,000 vehicles. You're going to be paying a premium because they don't have the scale built out yet for all the servicings. They're barely trying to get profitable on the actual car. But even with that in mind, $4,200 does feel like a ripoff.
That's a lot.
That feels like again, tape.
I agree with you, man. That's unreasonable. Or tarp. Okay.
Blue tarp.
Yeah, that's what I would do. You want to cover a little Russia?
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll do a couple of these, and then we'll go to the fun things like Star Wars and Disney and all that.
Ooh.
So over the weekend, Russia basically launched the largest attack on Ukraine since the war began. There were even attacks over Kyiv, 31 people dead, 150 injured. This happened on Friday, the Friday that just went by. And mind you, this is kind of in a response to Ukraine attacking Russian ships in the Black Sea like the week before. I mean, it's always a back and forth, right? It's always an escalation. But blasts reported in Kyiv, Kharkiv, Dnipro, like some other areas too. And what was interesting is even though I'm watching all this escalate, as of, I think this was yesterday, Russia and Ukraine did the largest exchange of prisoners so far.
That's interesting.
230 Ukrainian prisoners released, 248 Russian soldiers. This was mediated by the UAE. Russia said it was a very complex mediation.
Sure.
There's been some exchanges in the past too, but not since like the first half of last year, basically.
It's so interesting. How long this has been going on and how it just feels like there's no end in sight. I was just reading, I think it was in the Journal, that Ukraine is running out of conscripts to join, basically. They're running out of people who are willing to join the military. I don't blame that. I mean, if I'm in Ukraine, do I really want to join the military? I mean, there's a reason they're recruiting more. Because guess what happened? It's not great. It's very sad. It's like Elon Musk regularly says, you're destroying, he called, it's a little bit of a weird phrase, but Elon's phrase is they're destroying the flower of the Ukrainian youth. So that was a little bit of an interesting way to put it. But he's essentially saying, like, you're killing off all the young people in Ukraine, at least the young dudes. It's terrible. But, same thing on the Russian side. It's just, I'm really surprised there's still not a negotiated solution. It makes me wonder if there's, frankly, just a desire by other countries, whether it's the United Kingdom or the United States, to kind of keep the war going. Because you just constantly keep this anchor on Russia. It's kind of like as soon as the war is over, you went up to Putin and you unclipped, like with those carabiner hooks, you unclipped an anchor. And it's like, oh, you're good now. You can go back to growing. So, I mean, what do you think? Maybe that's too jaded.
Well, it's definitely jaded.
Yeah,
I don't think it's inaccurate. The thing that I keep going back to is Ukraine's not the one that invaded to start this, right? So it's Russia, I think, would have seen at least some of this coming. Now, granted, they probably thought it was going to be a much more swift invasion. It wasn't going to last this long.
Yeah.
But
do you think he really miscalculated that much, Putin? Or was that all part of the show? Like, that makes me, because everybody's like, oh, Putin miscalculated, it was going to be so fast. But what if he got into this knowing that he was perfectly fine having this border war going on for 10 years because it allows it, maybe it gives him negotiating clout. You know, maybe it gives him clout to go to China and say, hey, let's make deals together. How about I sell you cheap oil? China's like, great, that'll help boost our crappy economy. And it basically builds the alternative to the Western front by using the Ukrainian war as a tool to say, well, we can't work with America because, you know, they're supporting our enemy. So why don't we build a new payment system or oil routes or whatever with you, China, and, you know, whatever. It makes me curious.
It's entirely possible. Today we were having some very spirited discussions in the office trying to like figure out kind of Putin's motives and what our thoughts are on the whole thing. And I think kind of the conclusion we came to is he's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
So when it comes to mind games and that kind of stuff, he's very good. Russia is very good at mind games. They're really bad at fighting. Like all their stuff is outdated.
Oh, well, that's true.
It's
that's
super hit or miss. The technology's behind.
Well, they're way poor. I mean, what's the GDP of Russia?
At least 7.
So GDP of Russia, it's so as a fraction of what we are in terms of GDP, 7%.
Yeah.
See, 7.
That's funny. Yeah,
that's really funny.
And then, like, what percentage of that is military spending versus ours? Like, it just.
Oh yeah, Russian DoD spend. That's interesting, or whatever. Russian. I'll just call it Russian military budget. Let's see what they have. Russia's official 2022 military budget is expected to be 4.7 trillion rubles. So
like $20.
Yeah, $75 billion. We gave more to Ukraine. We gave like twice that to Ukraine.
You're right.
We gave twice of Russia's entire military budget to Ukraine. It's actually kind of crazy to think
so
about
far.
So it's not done yet. Yeah, that's true. You got requests for, you know, what, the other $105 billion package, which does include Israeli. I want to say 15 in there. There's some Taiwan money in there. So probably another 50, 60 for Ukraine, which it basically just another annual Russian budget. I mean, we are fully financing Ukraine. And to a lot of extent, Israel too. What's really interesting about that is what incentive, and I've been saying this since the beginning, what incentive does Israel have to stop? Now, they are pulling back because the United States is frustrated, but what incentive do they have to stop? They can always find another reason to keep going, because when all the missiles, the cruise missiles they're launching, the rocket defense systems they're using, all the ammunition for those, the rifles, the body armor, the night vision, the snipers, when the tanks, when all that stuff is coming from America for free, what incentive is there to calculate? Yeah, let's stop. It's like, no, just a little more, U.S., just a little more. We're almost done. You may as well, because it's free.
Yeah, and the scare of, like, the terrorist attack scare, as legitimate as that terrorist attack was, the same thing with 9/11 is we use that as like a rallying call. Yeah. Patriotism went up, support for the president went up, the support to go and invade the other country went up. So when you have someone like Netanyahu, who's already on the right side, as far as the political spectrum, and had to form a coalition in order to get into power in the first place, like
with even further right parties. Yep.
You're thinking just short term, like, what will it take to get me, like, to keep me in office, to get me reelected? It's like, well, I'm going to keep attacking. I'm getting this for free, and my support's going up, at least locally, not globally.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I almost wonder if, like, when the United States provides. See, but they also don't provide a check, so to speak. They usually just provide the weapons. But I wonder if the U.S. ever provided hey, look, we'll support you with $20 billion, just a quick 20. You can either have it in cash for other things, or we'll give you weapons. But you can't take the cash and then buy weapons. So the argument then is like, hey, look, we'll support you. But now at least they can calculate, okay, well, all right, let's use like 5 for the military and then end the war and stop fighting because you're not getting incentivized anymore. But then, of course, why would you give them the extra 15 at all? So that's the problem. Like, you can't get that passed through Congress, so that would never happen, because why would you give them the extra just to fund their economy, to stop the war? Like, they should just stop the war. So That's tough.
It's tough.
Because I think the biggest thing that just frustrates me is just the thought that if you have unlimited resources and the stimulus checks that don't stop coming, you are 100% incentivized to constantly find a need for a further invasion. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, well, hey, we're going to need money now to start pushing up into Lebanon. When does it end? I don't know. When Biden says no, I guess.
Israel's investing in us too.
Oh, tell me.
Israel grants Intel $3.2 billion for a new $25 billion chip plant.
I thought that was honestly a little low.
Really?
I think Intel got ripped off. I think they could have gotten a lot more.
Could have gotten more?
Could have gotten a lot more. I think that's a bad deal. I think they could have gotten closer to 30% because that's like, what, 15%? I think they could have gotten a lot more. And so I don't know why. I wonder what politics were involved in that. Like, who on the board is connected to Israel? That would be very interesting to see because Intel's been talking about building plants around the country, and other countries are like begging Intel to come because it just creates so many jobs. I mean, when you put a factory into an area, you increase the demand for workers in an area, you get new restaurants, you get new hotels, you get new apartments and new homes, and then you have new infrastructure, and then you need new schools, and then all the people who work in the schools and the restaurants and the infrastructure, they need a place to live. Like, the GDP of the area just explodes when you get a new factory. So that's why I thought they were going to get closer to about 30% in subsidies, potentially up to 40%. So the fact that they only got 3.2 on 25 bill, I don't know. Maybe there's something else to it, but it just doesn't seem like a lot.
You make a good point because in return, Intel has promised. It's 60 billion shekels, but that would be $16.6 billion worth of goods and services from Israeli suppliers over the next decade in exchange.
Oh, committed to buy. Yeah, exactly.
So Israel just in tax alone is going to make that up, no problem.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. I mean, even 20% tax on $16.6 billion of commitments covers the 3.2 bill right there. And it doesn't have to be directly as a sales tax because maybe the sales tax, I don't know what it is in Israel. That would be interesting to find out. But, it's 17%. They do VAT. That's almost the full amount covered. Yeah. Value added tax. Wow. There it is. It's literally like Intel got nothing. Bro, what a ripoff. Intel, what are you guys doing? Israel literally gave up nothing. All they did was give up basically the money for 2 years or whatever until they get back in tax.
Decade. But yeah, it's also going to create thousands of jobs for them. Yeah.
Wow, Israel got a good deal here. I'm surprised by that. Where are they building it? Gaza?
It's 26 miles from Gaza.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's close.
It's very close to Gaza.
Oh, wow. Oh, I was just joking that because that's the thing. Like, you've got people freaking out on X right now that people want to go in and like redevelop Gaza and turn it into like a beachfront homes for the Israelis and stuff like that. And it's like, it's really sad because just of how many children and women lost their lives for that to even be circulating right now. But anyway, that's interesting. 26 miles. But then again, how long is Israel? Like, I wonder how long it takes to get, because we know the Gaza Strip was like probably 26 miles.
Gaza Strip is tiny.
Yeah, super tiny. So how long is Israel relative to it? It covers, you got the whole West Bank. And then so if I go from Gaza, I'm going to navigate to, not past Tel Aviv. I'm just going to play with it here. We'll go up to Shlomi. That's what we'll do. We'll go from Gaza to Shlomi. Shlomi, Israel. That is not possible. Okay, fine. Let's try this. Close time. Okay, about 187. It's probably about it's about 200 kilometers.
I have it in miles, 290.
290 miles from the top to bottom?
Long and narrow in shape, the country is about 290 miles in length and 85 miles in width at its widest point.
Oh, because I just went to the Gaza Strip, but Israel actually triangles.
Oh, yeah, it goes
all the way down to the Red Sea.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so that's what they're measuring. So if you measure the coastal side, the coastal length is going to be about 200 km to miles. The coastal side is about 125 miles.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's like a 2-hour drive. It's actually not that long of a country. And then if you want to triangle all the way down over to essentially the Red Sea, the Gulf over there, that's, would you say 275?
290.
290. Oh, that's interesting.
From peak to peak, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Huh. Yeah. So, and they chose to basically throw it over in that bottom area, 26 miles away
In
from
the
us.
Kiryat Gat site. I mean, I don't really know where that is.
Oh, yeah. I see that right here. Yeah. It's just northeast of the corner of the Gaza Strip. Kiryat Gat. There it is. Tiny little... There's big Kiryat Gat, which is apparently a shopping mall. And just put big in front of it. And then there's literally wow. I'll put this up on screen. When I zoom in, I see more pins for bomb shelter than I see for anything else. Do you see that?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put that up on screen, or maybe you. I got it. There we go. All right, is that mine? Yeah, there it is. Look at that. Bomb shelter, bomb shelter, bomb shelter. Post office. Bomb shelter. Shopping mall. Bomb shelter. Bomb shelter. That's sad. Bomb shelter. I wonder if they have reviews. This one might be closed. Oh, that's unfortunate. Can you confirm this? Open 24 hours a day.
I mean, that's the sad reality of being in that part of the world as a whole, whether you're on the Palestinian side or the Israeli side, is especially the Israeli side, the rockets are constantly coming over. Like, granted, they have the Iron Dome, but those rockets on a weekly basis, you're just used to seeing those come over.
Boy, that's sad. Yeah, there's a nice little roundabout over here by a shopping strip. I guess somewhere here is a bomb shelter.
Someone's asking, still time to buy Intel?
Wow, yeah. I mean, I still think the company... all right, I'm going to pull off Kirk Christian. Personally, I mean, the entire market has slowed down, right? So what did it get up to, 52 or something like that? Before it just tapered off there on the right? 52-ish?
50, almost 51.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so it didn't quite make it to 52 or even 51. I think it's like a $65 dollar stock once people realize that they're actually going to make money manufacturing chips. It could be more. That gives you what? There's another 30%, 40% leg in there, I think, for Intel. So, I mean, I don't think it's like a 10x. It's not certainly not anytime soon.
I clicked on the year to date and I was like, what's wrong with this chart? Right, the year just started.
Yeah, I know.
It threw me off 2 days.
Hard. Yeah.
I was like, what?
That's funny. Okay, interesting. So let's go into our next piece, but we're going to go to, I want to see Intel's board of directors really quick before we do. And just, okay, so Andrea
Goldberg and
Goldsmith. It's like one of the first names I see here. That's really interesting. I just got to start looking up these last names, but we'll have to look into some of these backgrounds. That's the only gold though, but there is a gold. Jim Goetz, see, I guess you could probably some of these people probably have
Wikipedias.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Claudine Gay.
Oh, yes.
You remember her?
Is she finally gone?
Shortest tenure in Harvard history.
No way, really. Did she? It's almost like Lettuce Head Lady. How long did she last?
I keep forgetting about Lettuce Head Lady.
Lettuce Head Lady was great. It was hilarious.
Like a day. It was. That was a short one.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with the Congress thing, and not remember how she was before Congress with a couple of other presidents of other universities, and they were asking do these anti-Semitic comments, do these break any of the school rules? They're like, it depends on context.
Yeah, it's like, when does inciting, genocide depend on context? And so the internet freaked out about it.
This had nothing to do with that. It was purely for plagiarism.
Yeah, I guess they were and people basically started going through all of her papers. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just ran them through GPT and they're like, analyze for scum. Apparently, people made some serious plagiarism connections, which is crazy. What was her position at Harvard again?
She was the president of Harvard.
The president is what they call it. Okay, wow.
She's staying at Harvard. She's just no longer president.
Oh, okay.
And she's keeping her pay.
No, come on, man, that's weak. It used to be. I'll tell you, since COVID, I feel like so many things have gotten flipped. Like things that used to have like clout, right? Harvard. That was something that I was like, you put it on your resume. That's right. Now this is embarrassing. Quite frankly, since the COVID era, it's like you say you go to a liberal arts school. It's like, oh, you're flaming liberal or whatever. You're super on the left. So College has gotten hit pretty hard politically. Harvard just got wrecked politically. Bill Ackman's been trolling them on like a daily basis. Then you look at just the amount of damage that's happened to the reputations of the mainstream media over the last 4 years. And there have been quite a few things where it's like, wow, yeah, it's bad. I mean, even up to going back to the classic Wall Street Journal with Tesla just last week. Oh, yeah, getting sued all over the place for FSD. Don't mention the wins of FSD lawsuits and the fact that they haven't lost any. It's sad. Like, when I went to high school and college, it's like, oh, no, these are institutions to revere. Oh, it's the Associated Press or it's the New York Times. Oh, it's the Wall Street Journal. Oh, it's, the TV or whatever. They could do no wrong. All of that is like bullshit.
I'll show you the AP's response to this too. It's just, it takes so long to build up these reputations, like we said earlier, and it takes so little to absolutely ruin them.
And it's just sad because it keeps happening. So everything I look at, I go, gosh, like, when's that going to get canceled next? It's crazy.
Do you know her salary, by the way?
Salary for president of Harvard, 150K?
Well, now she's political science department, but 150K, good guess, a few times more than that.
Few times?
900K.
Holy shit.
$900,000 per year.
What? Almost $1 million? Yeah. Oh my God. That's where the endowment money's going. Yeah. Holy crap. What?
So I want to show you a couple responses people have had on X. Well, Bill Ackman said, Claudine Gay hit with 6 new charges of plagiarism. Chamath goes, what's going on here? I thought she only had 11 published papers. Which, I mean, to be fair, you can get hit with multiple counts on one paper, but the ratio of paper to plagiarism doesn't look good. Here's the Associated Press. Harvard's president's resignation highlights a new conservative weapon against colleges. Oh, God. Plagiarism.
And why is it a conservative weapon? Well, but why is that a conservative weapon? It's like, if you're a plagiarist, you're like a scammer. You're scamming the school system.
Community notes. Plagiarism is a breach of rules for Harvard. Claudine Gay was ultimately forced to resign for a series of breaches of this policy. Plagiarism or application of the rules around plagiarism, therefore, cannot be considered a weapon. Yeah. Especially not a political weapon.
Yeah, that's so dumb. What a terrible title. Yeah. Well, that's sad. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. Like, even Reuters, these companies, they're supposed to be, like, citable. Sometimes now in videos, I feel like I can't even say citations anymore. Because just by mentioning, I'll make a video and I might have 20 sources. But if let's say one of those is a reference to like the New York Times, and then I reference one line from one NYT piece, it's almost like the entire video is tainted.
Yeah.
Because all people heard was New York Times one time, because that's how bad their reputations have gotten.
And when I do a lot of the research for these things, or just in general, I'll try to cross-reference everything.
You have to now. It's crazy. Yeah.
And it's the same thing I'll bring up on the pod. It's like, okay, I found this quote on CNN, but like it's because I like the quote. Like the information checks out with both sides.
Like, and everybody, like, it seems like in comments, people hate CNN, people hate even CNBC these days. Boy, people, if you look at Twitter, people just absolutely hate them. They love watching Kramer for the inverse, I guess. I guess he pulled off another inverse Bitcoin with now the rumors this morning that the Bitcoin ETF might not get approved, and Bloomberg coming out like, no, we see no indication that it's not going to get approved. What a mess. What a mess.
If you can't trust AP, Reuters, and Bloomberg, then in my opinion, as far as mainstream media, like I understand why people have an issue with trusting mainstream media. Yeah. You can't.
Those are supposed to be like the top, like everything filters down from there. Yeah. Like those are supposed to be a lot of those, your original sources. And then the news reporting gets kind of repackaged by the other, outside of, exclusive content that some of the publications come up with, gets repackaged by all the other publications for your local news, for your state news, whatever it is. So, but yeah, I mean, you see stuff like that. It's like, who wrote that title? Like that title, that AP tweet or post, I guess Elon wants us to say now. They should be fired.
It's a miss, man. It doesn't look good.
It's pretty bad because it just brands the entire company like that, and it's bad. Yeah, anyway,
I won't go over this whole last one, but just to show you, Bill Ackman had a lot to say, and I just want to show on screen how much he had to say. We won't necessarily read through it, but It's a very, very, very long post. It talks about DEI, which is
diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Look at this rant that he went on.
Holy smokes!
I read the whole thing.
Can we I was just gonna say copy and paste it in GPT and give me the 3-line version.
Yeah, there was one line that he has on here that I think summarizes it well, but I'll do that right after.
Yeah.
The E for equity in DEI should be about equity of outcome.
Or is about equity.
Excuse me, yeah, not equality of opportunity.
Right.
That's kind of what it is in a nutshell.
It should always be about, so Christian, maybe tab out and then give that a little paste into GPT and let's give a little summary there. It would be really interesting just to see what it says. That, I think, is a very reasonable line, and I think that's a great thing to pick out of there. Is everybody should have the chance to start a business. Everybody should have the chance to get a job and get a W-2 that they can then use to get a loan to buy a house. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to buy a great house that appreciates. That doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to make stupid renovation choices. I mean, some of the renovation choices people make, it's almost like they spend money just to purposefully bag the value of properties. It's kind of funny. It makes for great opportunities for house hack. That summary is longer than what his post is.
It's a long one.
GPT,
I mean, it was a long post, man.
In fairness, that's true.
It went on for a long time.
Just reply to it even shorter.
I will.
So, but I mean, so you read the whole thing. What's your takeaway?
Yeah, I think I agreed with most of what he said.
I think he's reasonable.
He was reasonable.
He's definitely a trader in terms of when he shysters around with treasury bills and that. But fine, that's his job. But he's very passionate about this Harvard attack.
And he was going on about how things should be merit-based. He referenced Martin Luther King Jr., which I know a lot of people in general like to reference him, but how his whole thing is his dream was one day not being judged by the color of your skin, but by the character, your merits, that kind of thing. So 100%. We're going away from that, and he's arguing that's actually more racist. Elon had a response, and he was like, DEI is a racist term, don't ever use it.
Yeah. Elon, what do you think about? So on the note of Elon, go to his pinned post and take a look at this. This I thought was very interesting because if you go to his pinned post, that one, that's it. It's all about immigration here, and take a look at how that's titled, and then maybe Christian, you could throw that up when you're ready there.
So the original one is, since August, there have officially been more arriving each month than there are children being born to American mothers. And these are just the official encounters. We don't know how many avoided detection. Elon says, almost no one seems to be aware of the immense size and lightning growth of this issue. According to the mayors, it is already overwhelming essential services in New York, Chicago, and other cities. And the chart is American births versus illegal immigrants.
Right. And so when we look at that, the headline says American births versus illegal immigrants, that's not actually what the lines represent. As you scroll down a little bit, it actually is American births versus encounters. So the definition of encounters is really interesting because some folks, and this seems to depend on specifically who you talk to, but here's the official statement, and then I'll kind of give an anecdote here. The official statement is, nationwide encounters are the sum of Customs and Border Patrol encounters across all areas of responsibility. Northern land border, southwest land border, on-land borders like airports, seaports, whatever. And so it's basically all of their contacts with people at any kind of port of entry. And so then it makes you wonder, is that the right term to use to reference illegal immigration? Because let's say here's an anecdote, a Customs Border Protection person says, hey, somebody comes on the Mexican side up to our facility to inquire about immigration or whatever. That's an encounter. So then it's okay, well, is that the best frame of reference there? And there didn't seem to be any kind of expansion from Elon on the encounters part or whatever. But it's so important to him. He pinned this.
Yeah.
And I don't know how accurate it would be to use that line there, especially since this is they try to show it. How far does it go on the bottom left? I mean, I see it says Trump, but what's the date on the bottom left?
This is October.
It goes back to pre-2020, huh? Yeah, it must.
It's 2 Octobers, the last 2 Octobers of Trump presidency. Around here.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So it's like a year and a
18
half,
19.
not even a year and a half.
Yeah. It would be it'd be
What's
really
before
interesting if did they change the definition or what happened? Now I do think, and I'm not here to say that it hasn't been a problem. The problems have definitely increased, but I do think encounters is a funky way to reference the immigration problem. I think there should probably be like if that chart was illegal border crossings. Okay, how different would it be in that case? And it's not that easy to parse that data out. So anyway, it's stuff like that I'm always thinking about. I'm like, it's easy to shape all so much of this data in however you want to message it or like shape it, right? For your messaging purpose.
I think he's right, man. We got to keep the Canadians out. Someone says this cannot be right. Birth is 3 mil, not 300K. These are monthly points. So per year, you're going to end up with about 3 mil with this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as far as I know, those numbers are accurate. I don't know about the encounters.
Good clarification. Yeah, anyway. All right. So, yeah, I wonder why my challenge is I can't get an encounters count prior to 2021 on the Customs and Border Patrol website. So that's why I'm wondering, is this just like a new phrase or whatever? So it's just bizarre. Fiscal year just only goes back to 2021. So it's a little bizarre, but I'll keep digging around on that and see.
That's interesting. Yeah, so I wonder if it's a new term, like you said, and then we only recently figured out exactly how to count them or got better at counting all of these. Or
Yeah. See, it looks like in 2019 they called them total apprehensions and inadmissibles.
So these are the people that didn't immigrate into the U.S. These are the people that tried.
Yeah,
failed.
Let's try to understand that. I'm going to plug this in. So, because you can look at, okay, Christian, I'm ready for you. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Customs and Border Patrol southwest border. So this is just the southwest border. And you can see the different years going back to 2014 here. So this would be Obama through 2016. Trump would be 17, 18, 19. And it's like, hey, well what's this giant spike over here? I mean, theoretically, you could say, Trump did something or whatever. Like, you could make whatever argument you want. I'm not saying that you should. I'm not trying to say anything positive or negative about politicians right now. But it's weird because they don't call it encounters here. Now, when I search the word encounter, obviously I get the tabs on the left, but OFO inadmissibility metrics include individuals encountered at ports of entry who are seeking lawful admission to the U.S. but are deemed inadmissible. So those aren't necessarily folks who are legal. This could be like, hey, your passport expired or whatever. Individuals presenting themselves to seek humanitarian protection. I guess that would be immigration, undocumented immigration. Individuals who withdraw an application for admission and return to their countries. So like you get turned away at the border as well. But again, the definitions changed. We're not really using encounters in total over here. So we can't really compare. So how did they do it? Like, how on your chart, Mikey, how did they come up with encounters when it seems like the definitions changed and now we're using inadmissibles or I don't know. So this is what I hate about politics. Yeah. It's like everybody has the chance to make an argument, but nobody's using the same facts. So how do you make an argument when you can't even compare the data? I can't compare to Trump because we're using inadmissibles and apprehensions then.
The data doesn't lie, but people manipulate what the data means, and that's what gets tricky.
Yeah, or people pick the data that works for what they want, that's tough. That's pretty tough. Anyway, all right. Some little side note on immigration there.
Let's do a little bit of Disney.
I wonder if I've been considered an encounter because I've come into the country before. With my American passport, and I'll have the little red light go on, and they're like, "Wow, you overstayed your visa when you're one." And it's like my mom forgot to drop off the little coupon or whatever when you leave the country.
Straight to jail.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. Maybe that's an encounter. Who knows, man? Who knows? Anyway, Disney.
We'll do the Star Wars one next, but first I wanted to cover Mickey Mouse. The copyright is over for Mickey Mouse.
Ooh, so we could use Mickey Mouse in our branding if we wanted to, theoretically.
Only the original from Steamboat Willie.
Okay.
So it's like the really old-looking one. You can't even use the white gloves.
No way.
The white gloves came out a couple years later. So only the original copyright of Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie one is available. Wow. I think there's going to be some lawsuits coming from people who don't understand that.
Steamboat Willie, Mickey. What is Steamboat Willie?
It's the original movie that introduced Mickey Mouse for the first time.
1928. So what? I guess the copyrights must be 96 years. The budget for Steamboat Willie, $4,986.
I have it. Yeah, coming out in 1928.
That's crazy.
That's nothing. Well, yeah, I mean, adjusting for inflation, it might actually be a real number, but
well, let's do it. Actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna adjust that for inflation. So it's about $5,000. Inflation calculator. Let's try it. Let's see how much they spend on Steamboat Willie. I bet you it's a fraction. Is my guess. I'm totally guessing here. I think it's a fraction of what it costs to make a movie today. But what was that? 1928.
28.
So I'll go from 27 because obviously you have to produce and then release. Okay, calculate. Dude, $87,000.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, that's what I like. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's inflation adjusted $87,000 budget to make a Mickey Mouse. What's the latest Disney movie? Like a Frozen? That's the latest good one. Frozen.
That's like an old movie now.
I know that's like 5 years old. It's like a different generation.
That's got to be a decade.
Budget $150 million.
Wow.
Steamboat Willie $86,000.
My dude, Frozen's over a decade old.
Who? What?
Frozen, over a decade old.
The original one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
November 2013.
Oh, that's scary. Holy smokes. Oh, wait, I used the 2013 movie. What's the other one? Frozen 2? There's a 3, right? Is there a 3?
That's a you question. You're a dad. Frozen 2 came out 2019.
$150 million budget for 2. Oh,
Frozen 3's coming out this year. All right, I'll catch up on the first 2 and then we can go watch it in theaters.
Yes, we're going to get it. Yeah, all of them are budgeted around $150 million. But they bring in like over $1 billion. So it's very, very profitable for them to make these Frozen movies. They hit jackpot with Frozen. They got to not screw this up like they've screwed everything else up. Oh well.
My only experience with Frozen is the Kingdom Hearts level where you go through Frozen. Have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Oh, it's like it's wild that even exists. It was made by Square Enix, which this is like the Final Fantasy, like the more serious video game group. And I guess their CEO happened to be in an elevator.
More serious than whom?
Than little old Disney.
I'm like, are you calling World of Warcraft not serious?
No, as far as Disney, because it was like, I think the 2 CEOs or 2 of the executives were in an elevator at the same time. And they had come up with this idea, like on the spot, let's just mix these.
Oh, wow.
This is the only franchise, dude, that I can think of where like Mickey Mouse gets choked and Disney signed off on it. Like, it's crazy that it even exists.
That's funny. See, we got to get back to the OG Disney. That's what we need. Yeah. Anyway. All right.
Well, we're getting further away from OG Disney. Star Wars, new director.
Okay.
For the new movie. A lot of mixed thoughts on this, and I wanna hear your thoughts too.
Okay.
But so the person who's going to be the new director, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, I'm probably totally screwing up her name, but she's a Pakistani feminist activist. And I just
where did they find these people? Is there like a DEI website that you can go to and like
DEIs
get
are
activists?
us. Yeah.
DEIs are us.
So I'll show you 2 clips I want to show you. This is the first one, which is the CNN kind of, this is where I learned about it in the first place.
You said CNN?
I said CNN. Please don't unsubscribe.
And the first person of color to direct a Star Wars film. It's set to be released in 2026. You can say that the force is strong with this one. Here's Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy.
That's how to say it.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I'm very thrilled about the project because I think what we are about to create is something very special. And we're in 2024 now. And I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away.
Okay. What thoughts so
difference?
far?
I mean, just like, should be the best person. Like, it doesn't need to be a dude or woman. Like, are there no women on the production team anyway? Like, just because you're a woman, I don't think you should need to be elevated to a certain position any more than a man or somebody else of color. Or it doesn't matter. It's like, who's the best person to lead the freaking show and make the most money for Disney? That's what, and give the best product. Because people confuse when they hear, oh, make the most money for Disney. I think sometimes people think, oh, the greedy capitalists. It's like, no, if they make good money, that means they're providing really good value. And customers will pay for really good value. It's very expensive to take a family to Disney. So why do people go to Disneyland? To go to the Star Wars, to build a $250 lightsaber, which is probably like $350 now with inflation? It's because it's really good. Like, it's a great experience. So, but this is popular to do now.
It is popular.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get to the point where we have to stop being like, this is the first woman to do this, and it's just like we've accepted that women can do stuff.
Yeah, like, please. Yeah.
So there are women on the women directors for the different Star Wars TV shows like Mandalorian and all those, but none of the feature films have had a woman director so far. That's why this is breaking.
Okay.
But here's where things get a little bit, I'll say, spicy.
Oh, no.
What is the balance of activating a force for change, but also trying to permeate that patriarchy, that power structure? And is that a part of the calculation of your art as well, and what's been the reaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable. Not you, just not you. Not you.
Point taken, point taken.
But, it is important to be able to look into the eyes of a man and say, I am here, and recognize that. And recognize that I am working to bring something that makes you uncomfortable, and it should make you uncomfortable, because you need to change your attitude. And it's only when you're uncomfortable, when you're shifty, when you have to have difficult conversations, that you will perhaps look at yourself in the mirror and not like the reflection, and then say, maybe there is something wrong with the way I think, or maybe there is something wrong with the way I am addressing this issue.
So is she talking about Star Wars, or is she talking about one person? Because I mean, if some dude has wronged her, okay, that's fair. Like, if someone's a douchebag to her and she wants to make that person uncomfortable, fair game. But
It's about Star Wars.
Weird. Is it just now let's just have a mission of let's make all men uncomfortable because now there's a woman in charge of Star Wars? What?
Yeah. So I've always found this interesting because there is some truth to change happens from discomfort. I think growth and discomfort are the exact same feeling, right? When you feel uncomfortable, that's the feeling of you're growing, and that's all fine. But I don't think there's, at least in today's day and age, I don't think people get uncomfortable when we talk about women's rights. Everyone agrees. I think if to say something like, "Hey, it's wrong that young boys are growing up feeling like they're the bad guy in society when they haven't done anything," people get uncomfortable at that. So
Yeah, that's very what sort of has brought Tate so much popularity.
Yes.
Is fighting back against this idea that white people have to feel bad or men have to feel bad because you're born a dude or you're born white or whatever. Just why are we why does the world waste time on this stuff? Let's just focus on, let's have a stronger economy for everybody that everybody can succeed in, and everybody, as Ackman says, can have an equal opportunity. I don't know.
I hope this movie kills it. I hope it's an amazing Star Wars movie. It just right now I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, what has she directed? What's her work? And ChatGPT goes, okay, here's her most noticeable work, or notable work. Saving Face from 2012. It's a documentary focusing on the plight of women in Pakistan suffering from acid attacks.
Oh, that used to be a big thing. They'd throw it in people's faces.
Yes, and I think I remember this documentary, unless there were others.
Wow.
Song of Lahore, which explores the story of Pakistani musicians and their journey through New York. A Girl in the River, The Price of Forgiveness. Another Academy Award-winning documentary delving into the issue of honor killings in Pakistan, also a big deal. Student Athlete HBO documentary, hardships faced by NCAA athletes. Then we have an animated film that follows the story of a young girl with dreams of becoming a pilot. She dedicated 2 episodes what is it? I don't know what that one is.
Oh, a mini-series here, Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel, yeah. I'd never watched Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
I've never watched any of these, to be honest. United Star Wars movie is the one that, or an untitled, Star Wars movie is the upcoming one.
For 2026. Okay.
I have found nothing about her being a Star Wars fan. She's very much an activist. So I hope it stays true to Star Wars.
Yeah, that's don't get me wrong. It's an impressive resume for what her vision of purpose is, but which is clearly promoting equality with women, and that's great. I think equality is a great thing, but how does that qualify you to work in Star Wars? I feel like the people who should be working on the Star Wars movie should be people who are hey, we've been in every single Star Wars production. We've seen, we talk to all the Star Wars fans that we can talk to understand, what are they looking for in the series next? What do they like? What do they not like?
Or
This,
even
like-
the youth that grew up with Star Wars. It's
Yeah.
perfect. Pass the torch. It's the fans.
Exactly. Yeah. I just built the Millennium Falcon with Jack. We finally finished that, which was really exciting. But I certainly on the resume here and what we're talking about, it doesn't sound like there's much. The focus isn't on Star Wars. The focus is on her activism, and I think that's misplaced. And so I'm surprised Disney sort of continues to go down this path.
They're like doubling down on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Weird.
I just wanted to show this too. There's your Millennium Falcon.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that was like 3:30 in the morning. Because I went to finish building it at like 3 p.m. I'm like, Jack, I'm not going to sleep until I finish it.
You look more tired than Jack in this.
We're both pretty dead. Yeah. By the way, while we were transitioning here, I asked GPT. I go, hey, what's the difference between apprehensions, admissible, inadmissible entries, and encounters? Going back to the last topic, and I have not fact checked this yet, but just based on GPT, the term encounters was created during COVID. So 2020. So like no surprise that the like phrase what is it? What am I trying to say? The phrase encounters has substantially exploded over the last few years because it's a brand new phrase. Now the question is, I mean, Trump was obviously still in office, so boy. What time frame? What can we go back to that encounter chart from Elon?
Yeah, it was like give me a second to pull it up here. It
Yeah.
was like I think 14
Pinned
months.
to Elon. That's what it was. Pinned to Elon's tweet.
Oh, that's right. I think it was 14 months of Trump presidency is all it showed on here. This one.
Yeah, there. Okay, I wish they put that date down there. Then we could finally have a little bit more. I mean, let's just work backwards. So I see that would be October 23. I'm assuming October 22, October 21. There's October. I mean, you go. Yeah. I mean, the line is exactly when
19.
Biden takes office. I mean, in fairness, that is when Biden takes office. But this was a title. This was a March policy. So the March policy would have created. You see that dip there during COVID, that COVID dip. Yeah, so that's what people are referencing, is that this rise right around there with Biden. So I wonder, is that because of Biden or what? But this encounters term is a new term. That's why we couldn't find it in the data before 2020, before COVID. Just so weird.
It's a new term. Yeah.
That is weird. But I guess then again, I do remember during the election, people were thinking, oh, as soon as Trump's out, we're going to go try and hit the border or whatever. So there is probably some of that. Anyway.
Elon Musk is live on X Spaces right now.
Oh, what's he doing? Let's listen in.
Let's listen for a second.
Yeah.
And a human will hopefully be soon, within the next, maybe this month or next. Now, this is really just at first just trying to give
such a way with words.
quadriplegics and tetraplegics the ability to control their phone and computer. It's basically like the first product is telepathy, essentially, or telekinesis, and then the second product, sort of tentatively called blind sight, where we can restore sight even if somebody has lost both eyes and their optic nerve.
Wow.
Amazing. Go straight to the visual cortex. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, these things already work in monkeys. And I'd just like to reemphasize, no monkey has ever died because of a Neuralink. And we treat our monkeys extremely well.
Last time I spoke to you about this, you were playing Pong against Pager, I think.
That's right. Actually, it turns out monkeys love playing video games. They're really just like us. I mean,
Can you lower the volume for a second?
They love.
Malay is in there. Do you see that? The Argentinian guy. Is he on the right side of yours? He's got the blue check mark, Malay.
Yeah.
And I can't, I think that's him. It says 430,000 followers, followed by Zero Hedge. He's listening in to Elon Musk talk about Neuralink.
Who are some of these people?
That's kinda
who's
cool.
this? This has got a lot of followers too.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
It's just funny. He's like, monkeys love playing video games. One of his last tweets is him playing Diablo.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. I mean, let's see if there's anything else juicy.
In fact, he gets upset when we take his video game away, just like humans.
Just like our kids.
Yeah.
It's Awesome. And this, I mean, giving sight to the blind, I mean, it's biblical stuff. And this is, again, coming back to the original, kicking off the new year with a positive mindset, with an abundance mindset, with an exponential mindset, with a moonshot mindset, right? Which I think, and I hope you agree, like, I think for entrepreneurs and people listening, like, the single most important thing we have is our mindset, how we see the world. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can choose to be. I mean, happiness is, I think, is a decision.
Yeah, all right, it's a little boring.
Yeah, I'll probably listen to it later and then figure out what to do with that.
Replay it back on 2X and see what juicy things are. All right, well, that's interesting on Disney. So what else?
Well, the Epstein list only just came out while we were starting the pod, so give me some time to go through that
That's
and we
gonna
can
be
talk
fun.
about it
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we'll hit Epstein probably tomorrow. That's gonna be really fun.
Although there was some drama already with Jimmy Kimmel involving that.
Oh no.
It was there's a football player, Aaron something or other, who was like, he made some comment about Kimmel being on there, and then Kimmel responded on X, and he was unhappy.
Well, I can imagine if somebody's like, "Oh, you're gonna be on Epstein's list," and you don't think you are, it'd be like, "What? This is bad. This is like, you're gonna try to slander me." And so what? Jimmy Kimmel essentially just freaked out, probably.
Yeah. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, that's who he was. He's talking about popping a bottle when the Epstein Associates list comes out and suggested Jimmy Kimmel, and Kimmel's like, "Dear asshole." I don't know if the double A was a typo or if it's because Aaron is spelled A. But anyway, for the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we will debate the facts further in court.
Wow. Nice. Wow. Jimmy's just pretty. This actually shows you how intense the Epstein stuff is. Because it's basically a way of saying the Epstein stuff is so intense, Jimmy Kimmel is freaking out just at the thought of even being mentioned on the list. That's wild. That's wild.
Oh, people are making fun of me for not knowing the football guy. I'm not a sports ball fan. I do European football and Formula One, basically.
Nice. All right, what's next?
Okay, so I was, this isn't much of a topic, but I was looking at remember the CTIL files? We were covering them a couple weeks. So I was like, let me see if there's anything new developing there. And I Google it, and look what notification Google gives me. It goes, it looks like there aren't many great results for this search. Check the source, the trusted new search. Anyway, I don't know if Google is
they're
limiting
they're probably censoring
it, or if it's just a disclaimer to check my sources.
What was it again? The CTIL Google files, or well, I'm gonna go on here. I'll go on not Chrome.
The censorship industrial complex of like all these companies, Twitter and others, helping like the government censor certain things, and it was mostly like right wingers that were getting censored.
Interesting. Yeah, news target. That's it. CTIL files number 1. U.S. and U.K. military contractors create sweeping plan for global censorship. No new documents show, and I guess Google and Facebook and stuff were sort of like implicated in this, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so now Google's not showing me. I mean, even December, there's nothing from December.
Yeah, that was it. That's right. Whistleblowers, CTI League. And now Google's trying to, at least with CTIL files.
Yeah, November is the most recent searches that are coming up.
Yeah, because if I go to Bing, I get it all right away.
I was about to do that too.
Yeah.
Bing it.
CTIL Google, and plenty of it comes up. Yeah, you get the full PDF, CTIL files, house.gov, Substacks on it, whatever.
Yeah.
How fascinating.
Huh? Okay, well, that's a point for Bing. That brings the total score to like 1 to 500, but Bing's finally got a point.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, you're right. You type CTIL files in. It looks like there aren't many great search results. I got it too, even on a private browser. Censorship industrial complex. Wow. Very interesting. Anyway, all right.
Okay. The last topic of the day is a homelessness study that was done that I thought we'd find pretty interesting.
Oh?
Imagine 100 homeless people are given $750 per month for a year.
Okay.
No questions asked. The study basically asks, what do you think they'll spend it on? And so this was conducted by a nonprofit in San Francisco, which is the place to be doing a homelessness study. And it's only been going on for 6 months so far.
I thought you were going to say the place to do homelessness. That's bad.
I wouldn't do homelessness there, man. Like,
It's that bad?
It's pretty bad.
Oh my gosh.
It's only been 6 months since the study started. It's supposed to be a year-long study.
Okay.
But they have found some significant enough points to already publish some information here.
Okay.
So after 6 months, they found, first of all, only 12% of those who received funds were still homeless at any point in the prior month.
Wow, that's really good.
And it broke down their spending.
Oh, wow.
So food, 36.6% of the money. Housing, 19.5%.
Okay.
Transportation, 12.7%. Clothing, 11.5%. Healthcare, 6.2%. And then the rest are uncategorized at 13.6%. But it's worth noting that only about 2% went to alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs, which the largest of those categories was cigarettes by far.
Wow. That's really interesting. Cash recipients also said they were better able to meet their basic needs. Yeah.
They asked them on a scale of 1 to 5, like 1, you meet all your needs, to 5. They dropped from about 3.7 to 3.25, which, I mean, this was only $750 a month, and this is in San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so they did 100 homeless folks. It's just like, here's money, go figure it out.
And they had a control group, too, of just like, hey, you 100 guys, we're going to follow you and not do anything about it, but just see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's really what it is. It's like it's a UBI.
Yeah, it's basically UBI. So it was interesting because I know there's a lot of hesitation sometimes. And when it comes to like donating, like sometimes you'll have homeless people at the freeway exits, like panhandling, asking for money. I've always been an advocate of donate to your nearest soup kitchen or nearest nonprofit that you trust that's doing good things with the money.
Right.
But this was just an interesting study because I had never realized how much just that amount of money could completely change someone's life.
Yeah, it also makes me wonder too, because these like if you're homeless and you don't have a place to shower, you can't really have a job because nobody's going to hire you if you are stinky and you can't even go to a job interview. So there does get to a point of despair where like you get into such a cycle of misery that you can't even have a clean shower because everybody's kicking you out of bathrooms or whatever. You're screwed. Like, how do you get out of that?
You're screwed. No haircut, no fresh clothes.
Yep.
Like, you smell bad. No one's going to want you. I've always known, hey, if I ever end up on the street, the first thing I got to do is basically spend some money on a gym membership, like a cheap one with multiple locations so I can use their showers.
Oh, good point.
So I can be safe somewhere if I need
$1 a day or something, exactly.
That would be the first thing. But you reach a point where you probably start getting kicked out of those too if you don't smell good, you have old clothes, all that.
Yeah.
So anyway, this was...
And you can't sleep in there, so you
can't
got to figure out how to sleep somewhere. A gym membership, that's not bad. But then I wonder, do you need like an ID? I mean, you should have an ID, but... Boy, that's tough. That's really tough. That is very interesting. Yeah, and talking about charities, I was actually just trying to look at here quickly. What is this? I was looking at the Red Cross, just for example. I've always been kind of curious, like how much money they actually spend on just like managerial expenses. They don't make it particularly easy to figure out.
Some of them are kind of sketchy.
That's what I wonder is like what percentage of Red Cross donation money actually goes to people?
Well, it's also American Red Cross or International Red Cross. Those are two completely different organizations who spend their money differently.
They're it's not this. They're not like subsidiaries of each other.
No, they're different.
Wow.
And one of them. Well, I guess they have a network together, but they're two separate entities. And from what I remember, I haven't done this research in like 10 years.
Yeah.
But I remember one of them being much more transparent with their numbers than the other.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that is fascinating. Yeah, and they kind of lump together their expenses. They don't. Well, here's Yeah, that's funny. Okay. See, if I'll throw this up on screen. So, we do financial statement analysis on a daily basis, whether it's course member lives or just for making YouTube videos or whatever. Very interesting that they show that they only spend about $97 million here as of 2022 on management in general, but and that's out of $3.2 billion in revenue. But the question is, how much of each of these line items here, community services, biomedical, how much of this is like basically your actual operating expenses that are not going directly to benefits for folks? So that would be something interesting to see, how much waste there is at charities. I would guess it's probably somewhere around 30%.
They have
big
a
salaries.
limit of how much they can spend on certain categories before they can't be deemed a nonprofit anymore.
Oh,
So
interesting.
one
So
of them I
that's
remember
how
was
you
very
have-
close to that limit.
That's how you probably have to recategorize here, where you start putting some of your management and into some of the other segments. That's fascinating. Yeah. Anyway, well, here. You know what? We'll ask GPT quickly because those were the financials. We saw the financials. Hold on a sec here. Let's go to GPT. Let's see. If I donate $100 to the Red Cross, approximately how much will actually go to help people? Just curious what it says.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The answer is maybe.
This post is sponsored by the Red Cross.
Yeah. Well, that's
it actually says, as of its last update in April, the American Red Cross reported that on average, 90 cents of every dollar they spend goes to humanitarian services and programs. That sounds good, but then I do wonder, because like we just saw in the financials, you can have very little on that OPEX expense and then just pad all of the other line items. So I wonder, there's got to be a lot of waste at these charities. I wonder how much actually gets to the bottom line. Like, how much does it cost the Red Cross, basically, to give a can of beans to a homeless person? You know, so that would be very fascinating.
And it gave you the answer for the American Red Cross. I just asked and I specified International Red Cross, and it's not giving me a straight answer. It goes, well, the majority, but the percentage, it depends on a lot of factors.
Yeah, of course.
It's usually around 70 to 90%. It wouldn't give me a straight answer for International Red Cross.
Yeah. Oh well. So you know who else? It says 90 cents of every dollar will actually go to the purpose you're donating for.
Huh.
Trump. 90 cents of every dollar he gets will go to his campaign, and 10 cents will go to legal fees. That's been the latest argument or idea. I think it's much more is going to legal fees.
He'll probably make the argument that the legal battle stood in the way of his campaign, therefore it was an extension of his campaign, and it counts.
100%. Well, I mean, also just to be frank, I think all of the legal battles he has are his best marketing for us. I mean, because anybody who is a big Trump fan, they see these as weapons attacking Trump. And so the more he advertises the problems he has, the more he gets angry supporters. Angry supporters are the best because they vote.
Kind of like what you were saying about Russia. He's incentivized to just keep the battle going for as long as possible because he keeps getting money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is really interesting. It is very similar to that. With Israel as well. Yeah, Ukraine. Yeah, fascinating. Well, there you have it. I think it's time to press the button. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF and hold long positions in various securities mentioned, including potential short positions. However, I have no relationship to any issuers, nor am I presently acting as a market maker.